Boxing truth here. Demetrius Andrade. Chances of getting a Canelo Alvarez are slim to none. And Slim's already left town. An old saying Don King used to say when he once told Bob Arum that George Foreman had no chance of defeating Mike Tyson when they were negotiating a bout between them back in '95 that never materialized. But Andrade can't sit around waiting for Canelo Alvarez. It's an imaginary fight right now. Canelo Alvarez has picked up the WBO strap. And Thunderdome did a topic about this. Shout out to Thunderdome. And it's safe to say he's not a Canelo Alvarez fan. But when it comes to Andrade's situation with WBO, he was currently behind Canelo Alvarez when he challenged Liam Smith for the title. Alvarez was the number one contender. Andrade was right behind him at number 2. So now Andrade's not officially the mandatory challenger. The WBO has to designate him as the mandatory challenger. They have to make a decision on who's going to be the next mandatory challenger. But I'm doing this video for one of my subscribers. Shout out to Adrian Nugent. My bad if I pronounce your name wrong. And Canelo right now, he has no mandatory obligations. As the WBO have a similar set of rules as the other sanctioning bodies, but they have even more. Not every sanctioning body is the same, but they're similar in their rules, and just like most sanctioning bodies, they can be bent, they can be broken for a certain fighter. Now Alvarez, he's the current WBO junior middleweight champion, and right now he has no mandatory obligations. He doesn't have to make one for another 9 months since he took the belt off Liam Smith. They don't have to fight mandatory challengers for another 9 months. Every 9-month intervals, a WBO champion has to make mandatory defenses, and in the interim, they can take voluntary defenses. Pick somebody within the top 15 of the rankings. But Andrade, he can't just sit around and wait for Canelo to see what Canelo's going to do, since it's 9 months away until he has to make a mandatory defense if Canelo decides to stay in that division and defend his title, which is no guarantee. He's already made a statement that he's not going to return for December of this year since he injured his hand in the fight against Liam Smith. So he's not going to return till possibly early next year, or maybe he'll wait till May of 2017 to fight. Really depends on Canelo. So Andrade needs to move on. He needs to get his career going. He can't just sit on the sidelines and wait for what other guys are going to do with their titles. And that's exactly what Andrade is doing. Now, Andrade, at least, he's in the position to get in the type of the position that he wants. He needs more negotiating leverage at the table. He has none right now. He has no belt. He's not a big name, and he's a threat. So those are 3 strikes against him that is going to make him difficult to get any significant fights. He needs to put himself into position, become a mandatory for an organization's belt in order to get a strap and have more leverage at the negotiating table. So he's going to have to do something that most American fighters don't do. He's going to have to travel overseas and take a pretty risky fight against a solid guy who's a regular belt holder in Jack Colke. Even though Andrade's defeated him in the amateurs, this is a professional game. This is different. Colke is a solid junior middleweight, strong looking, not a bad fighter actually. And Andrade's going to have to go overseas to Germany to fight him, since the WBA has ordered Andrade, since he's the number 1 contender for the WBA, they have ordered Andrade to fight Jack Colke, who holds the organization's regular strap. So I'm a little annoyed at Gilberto Mendoza Jr., who's the president of the WBA, who hasn't enforced Erislandy Lara to make a mandatory defense. Lara has done jack shit ever since the Canelo fight. He's been cherry picking, fighting no-hopers, faded guys, welterweights, and getting gift decisions in the process, but yet he doesn't have to do shit. Doesn't have to make mandatory defense. So he gets to sit back and fight another cherry pick fight if he wants. If he's going to fight again this year after getting a gift decision against Vanes Martirosyan. So Andrade, he has a decision. Does he want to wait for the WBO, which is going to be some time? Canelo most likely won't fight him. Canelo can do what he wants. He's in a position where he don't have to fight anybody the fans want him to fight. He makes money regardless. Just look at the results of 51,000 fans coming to the AT&T Stadium just for him to fight an unknown Englishman with a belt holder. So Canelo Alvarez is too far at the top right now. He can't see Demetrius Andrade. He can't see him right now. He don't have to fight him right now. And he's probably not going to fight him. He's going to most likely vacate the strap. He's made every indication that most likely that will be his last fight at 154. He'll move up in weight and probably take an in-house fight within the Golden Boy stable at middleweight. Possibly David Lemieux. I will like that fight. That's an interesting fight. So Demetrius Andrade should forget about the WBO. He should also forget about the WBC since he's rated the #1 contender for that organization. But unfortunately, he's the second mandatory for the WBC belt that currently Jermell Charlo holds. He holds that strap, and there's still no word on when his next fight will be, which is supposed to be a mandatory defense with Charles Hatley, a Don King fighter. But with Don King involved, you never know what the fuck's gonna happen. Don King, for whatever reason, he doesn't want to do shit with any of the handful of fighters that he currently has. Doesn't really want to take risky fights. He's pretty much in the twilight of his. He's been in the twilight of his promotional career. Hardly any fighters signed to his stable. The guy has no social media. Hasn't adjusted to the times, and the majority of his fighters are inactive or not doing anything, or they're very difficult for them to get fights to be made. So that's another sticky situation with WBC. No word on when Jermell Charlo is going to fight Charles Hatley to fulfill his mandatory obligation. Since Andrade is waiting in line with WBC, he might as well take the route of the WBA, which is a risky route, but a necessary one if he wants to get back into the position where he was as a full title holder for an organization. So Andrade is most likely going to take the fight with Koke. It will take place in November. Sometime in November. Andrade will travel to Germany. And if he's successful, he'll pick up a regular WBA strap. He'll come back to the United States if he's successful and fight on Showtime. Showtime has expressed interest in Andrade, and his promoter, Andrade's promoter, Banner Promotions, are going to stick with Showtime since Showtime has shown interest in Andrade's career. So they're going to show loyalty to Showtime for the time being. But that could quickly change if Andrade gets a bigger opportunity, say, across the street from another network. And that's what Andrade has to do. He can't sit around and wait for other guys to make decisions with their belts. He can't sit around and wait for organizations to mandate mandatory defenses. He got to take what's given to him, and that's the opportunity to fight Jack Koke in Germany and put him into position as the mandatory challenger to Erislandy Lara, a fight that is a very winnable fight for Demetrius Andrade. And it'll be interesting to see if Andrade could win the fight with Koke, pick up that strap, and see if if Erislandy Lara will take this fight. This guy talks a lot of shit, Lara. Does nothing with that belt. Doesn't want to unify. Calls Triple G out, but never makes an offer to fight him. Doesn't want to fight any elite challengers out there. He's been cherry picking ever since the Canelo fight. He's done jack shit since that fight. He's done nothing with his career. No momentum, and he's getting gift decisions. So it's time for Andrade to put himself in that position for that fight. He's been barking for that fight, Erislandy Lara. He needs to put an end to that Cuban hype job, who people actually think is elite. It's easy work for Andrade if he can get past Jack Koke, who may be a tougher fight for him. But I wish Andrade the best. He's going to do something most American fighters won't do, and that's travel to get him to a better position in their career, in hopes of finally fulfilling his goal of becoming the man at 154 pounds. Luckily for him, he's with the right network, and according to his promoter, Banner Promotions, Artipuelo, Al Heyman has no issues with matching any of his fighters with Demetrius Andrade, since he has to make fights as well. He needs to unify with some of his guys if Andrade can pick up a strap. It all remains to be seen, though. But I wish Andrade well if he does take the fight with Koke, as he's gonna be the road warrior on much different territory, different atmosphere, and against a solid junior middleweight who's not a bad fighter. But I'll be rooting for Andrade, and hopefully he can put an end to that Cuba hype job, Erislandy Lara. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.